How's it going, everyone? I'm so excited you're joining me today. And this is the jQuery Core Concepts for Beginners. And this is for absolute beginners. We're going to go over the basics step by step. So you could be completely new to this framework. So let's jump right into it. This is the jQuery introduction. So what is the purpose of jQuery? Well, jQuery makes it much easier to use JavaScript on your website. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with the old-fashioned JavaScript. Well, jQuery makes it a lot easier to write less code and do a whole lot more. So, what to know before taking this course? Well, all that's required is just know the basics, and it's just preferred to know the basics of HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. And again, it's just preferred and it's not required because I'll go over HTML a little bit enough that you can actually function jQuery, and I'll go over JavaScript as well and a little bit of CSS. So don't worry, you guys will be up and running in no time, and it'll just be a refresher. So what is jQuery? Well, jQuery is just a lightweight, write less, do more JavaScript library. So it has a ton of JavaScript functions that we can perform versus just a normal old-fashioned JavaScript library. But like I said, jQuery is just an extended, larger library that holds JavaScript functions that we can use in our web applications or our website. So the purpose is to make it much easier to use JavaScript on our website. That's the whole point of using jQuery. We want to write less and we want to do a whole lot more stuff. So jQuery also simplifies a lot of the complicated things from JavaScript like AJAX calls and DOM manipulation. And this is some of my favorites because with me, I like to write client-server software with web apps. And like I said, what AJAX does, it communicates to the server in the background. It makes asynchronous calls without you having to refresh your web page or whatnot. So that's a big plus to us, which we'll get into later in the sections. So the jQuery library contains the following features. It contains HTML and DOM manipulation. So we can select HTML elements and we can manipulate them by calling jQuery functions, also known as actions. And we can manipulate CSS as well, so we can modify the appearance and look of the HTML elements, which is really nice. HTML event methods. So we can call these events and set up our actions to do something when something happens on these HTML elements. We can also use some cool effects as well to kind of wow our users. And of course, which is my favorite, AJAX calls, which communicates with the server, and we can grab and retrieve data from the server and we can make it do whatever we want. Now, why choose jQuery over all of the other frameworks as far as AngularJS or the basic JavaScript and all of those other frameworks out there? Well, for one, jQuery is the most popular framework for web browsers out there. So we want to be up to date. And mostly, it's most extensible. So there's tons and tons of technologies that work with jQuery and popular web browsers as well. So it's highly extensible that a lot of these websites are using. So it's not anything new. It's a big plus. And it's Many of the biggest companies on the web use jQuery, such as Google. Who doesn't use Google? So that's a big plus. Microsoft as well, which is in a really huge company. IBM, and our favorite movie site, which is mine, Netflix. So these companies give jQuery the credibility, which is, again, my favorite. So pretty much these are the basic core concepts that we're going to go over, and we're going to do live examples, and you can follow with me, and you can perform these live demos with me, or if you want to watch, that's very cool as well. So stay tuned, and we'll jump into the syntax.